Hi, hey, hello, how's it going? It's Emily, and today we're going to be reading some summer romances, and I've read some without vlogging, so I'll include just a little quick review of a few that I've read so far, just to have a record of that somewhere, and then I anticipate reading a few more, and so hopefully I'll be able to actually vlog and document those. But as a bonus set of reviews, I read People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I've read several Emily Henrys, and I was very excited to read this one and wanted to during the summer since it centers summer vacations. And we're following Poppy and Alex, who were friends who met in college. They've gone on vacations, you know, their lives have diverged, but they've gone on these vacations every summer, in part thanks to Poppy's work as a travel writer. And they had a falling out a couple of years ago, and she is trying to kind of get their friendship back on track by going on another vacation and seeing if they can kind of reset. And so you follow the current summer, and you follow her inviting Alex on this trip and trying to act like things are normal, but also slowly starting to kind of talk through what happened and go through the motions of this vacation. And then you also go back in time to them meeting and going on some of these vacations throughout the years to show their history, show their relationship, show what happened 2 years ago. I love this one. This is just another hit from Emily Henry for me. I just had so much fun seeing the relationship between these two characters and how it grew over time. And, you know, nothing really surprising here, but I do enjoy her writing. I enjoy her character work. I enjoy her characters working through some other personal things as they're working through their relationship, and that's definitely the case here as well. And yeah, I love how they've learned to kind of reconnect with each other, and I adore Emily Henry. I also read The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. This is the reverse dust jacket from the Target version. I didn't even realize it had a reverse dust jacket until I got it. But I have read a couple of Christina Lauren's, and I did enjoy The Unhoneymooners, and I haven't read some of their recent ones, but I heard that this was kind of more in the vein of The Unhoneymooners, and so I was excited to dive into this one. Very much centers a wedding and a trip to Indonesia, and so I figured it would be perfect summer vibes. And you're following our main characters here. So he's an heir to a grocery store chain, so his family is very wealthy, but he's kind of cut himself off from that because his dad is just awful, just the worst. And he doesn't have a great relationship with all of his siblings because his parents have kind of pitted his siblings against each other in different situations. And anyway, so, you know, he is working through some stuff with that, and she is an artist, and they actually had a on paper marriage to get a housing situation settled. So they actually had lived together for a time, had a marriage on paper, but were going about their lives. She was a student and he was also a student, and so they were doing what they needed to do to get this cheap housing, but, you know, after that point had actually separated and moved on with their life. But his sister is getting married, and his parents want to reconnect with, is it Anna, I believe, our other main character, and it's like, oh, you should bring your wife. And for reasons, you know, he really wants her to come. He's willing to pay quite a bit of money for her to come. She is trying to help take care of some medical expenses for her dad, I think it was. And so, you know, she also wants to kind of play the part to get that money and go to this wedding as his wife. And of course, they reconnect and realize that maybe there had been more feelings there than they realized, and it was super cute. Again, seeing them work through some of their own situations was really, really nice, but it still overall was a lighthearted, fun rom-com about a fake, well, it's not even fake, they are technically legally married, because I think they weren't technically divorced at the time of the wedding. Anyway, so not even a marriage of convenience, I guess. And working through some family situations, but super fun. I had a great time with that. So I also have read a third one. I'll put an image here. Raiders of the Lost Heart. We're following an archaeologist who is trying to see if she can learn more about her ancestors through some of her archaeology digs and excavations. She hadn't been able to kind of go on the excavation that she really wants to. She needs to narrow down and be able to get the funding to do a specific excavation and try to find this site. She's contacted by someone who is working for the manager of this excavation site and says, okay, the lead archaeologist wants you to come on board, and you can kind of have the dig of your life, and they really need your help. And so she ultimately decides to join without really knowing who's involved or a lot of information. And it turns out that it's her old rival that she doesn't really like. And so she then is like, well, should I stay and deal with him, or what should I do? Should I leave or try to stick this out and see if I can go through with the opportunity of a lifetime for what I wanted to accomplish and what I wanted to learn more about? And so they're going through this dig, and of course feelings are starting to come up, and I just thought it was super cute. It was super fun. It was a super unique setting for this type of story, and there was a nice author's note at the end where she talks about her experiences at sites like this. She's not an archaeologist by training, but she has gone on some trips like this that kind of lend some personal experience to that, and really just wanted to see archaeologists at the center of a romance story, which I thought was super fun. And so it was just a unique setting and atmosphere for a story like this, and the main character is trying to navigate her professional reputation and navigating the challenges of the double standard that have come with her trying to earn respect in the archaeology community versus what he's had to go through to gain that respect, and have some conversations about that and have him realize and admit to her some hard truths about that, and them learning some more about this site and talking about their theories. It was just fun. I just had a great time with this one. I know it doesn't have the highest ratings, and I haven't heard the greatest things about this one, but I had such a fun time and just loved just the unique aspect of, I've never read a romance story like this, and I think that's super cool. So now there are a few more that I do want to read before the summer is over. So once I start those, it is almost time for Summerween. So I'm not sure if I'll get to those or get to one of them before Summerween. I don't think so. I think this will be an after Summerween project, but I will check in once I have hopefully started and not just completely read another romance for this vlog. Oh hey, here to continue this vlog because I am a little bit further than I want, but I'm at least not completely done with Well Traveled by Jen DeLuca. I'll put an image here. This is the fourth, and is it supposed to be the final book in this series of romance? It's a contemporary romance series of them that starts with Well Met, and it's a focuses on this Renaissance fair, which is why it just gives summer vibes. I have enjoyed reading these in the summer in particular because, yeah, as I said, it's just will give you all the summer vibes. They're out in the heat in these Renaissance fairs, and so it's fun. It's fun. And this one follows Lulu, who is Mitch's cousin. So we've, had some knowledge of her character from previous books, especially the book that focused on Mitch. And so she is a lawyer. She is not really in love with her job, and really is in that profession to make her parents happy, and is starting to realize that maybe that's not a good enough reason to stick with a profession. And there are some aspects of it that she could feel like she loves if she were maybe working with different people who aren't such assholes, you know what I mean? And so some things come to a head towards the beginning of the book, and she's in North Carolina for work to get a deposition or get some information on a case. And her asshole boss be assholing, and things come to a head, and she just kind of snaps. She just kind of snaps and ultimately quits her job and is like, well, okay, now what do I do? Dang. What have I done? What am I supposed to do? And her cousin convinces her to, just for a little while, run away with the Renaissance fair, stick with some of the people who are traveling to these different Renaissance fairs, hang out with them, help out where she can, and just take a break for a little while and figure out what she wants to do with her life. And so that's what she does. She runs away with the Ren Fair, and she's traveling with the group of musicians, and for a while there's also this group of tarot card readers that she's helping out and becomes friendly with and gets to know. And so that's kind of a good chunk of this, is her just helping out at the Ren Fair, trying to at first just not really focus on what she wants to do with her life and to just take a break, and then starting to think more and more about, okay, well, what does this mean? She has kind of an end date of when the Ren Fair goes back to where she's from, so kind of where things are set in some of the previous books with some of the characters that are in that location. The Ren Fair will eventually go back to that Renaissance fair that we've been following for the past few books. And so, she's just decided to kind of go along with this group performing at different Ren Fairs until they go to kind of their home base Ren Fair, or her home base Ren Fair, and then at that point, go back home and figure out what to do. And, of course, falls in love with Dex, who is one of the musicians, and we have kind of heard some things about him in Stacy's book. And so she's starting to fall for him, but of course she doesn't really know what it means, because one, he tends to not be a relationship person and really just wants to keep things casual usually, and she also has an end date to when she's going to be following the Ren Fair, and then needs to go back to her life after that, and so she needs to figure that out. And anyway, I don't feel like I'm feeling their chemistry as much as I usually do in these books. I'm still having a good time with it, and I still adore Brittany Presley as a narrator. She's narrated all of these books and is just absolute perfection. So I always love her performance, and I'm having a good time. It is kind of fun to just follow a character just living their life, trying to figure out what they want to do next. And so I am really sympathizing with her character, and I do like their dynamic. It's just I'm not really feeling it as much as I have for some of the other characters for some reason, and I can't quite pinpoint why. But, and of course, at some point there's going to be the conflict of figuring out figuring out what to do once she's back home, and she needs to really make some decisions about whether or not to keep, or figure out what it would mean to keep Dex in her life. So I'm sure that's going to be happening. So we'll see what happens with that, and whether or not I like kind of that third act progression. But I'm still having a good time. It's just fun to be back with these characters and in this world, and just going to these different Ren fairs. Like, it's a good time. It's a good time. So I will check back in when I have finished. So I have finished Well Traveled by Jen DeLuca. I did really enjoy this one. It's not my favorite in the series, but I did really enjoy it. It was so great to be back in this world with these characters, and just to follow Lulu figuring out her life and what she wants out of her life. It was fun. It was fun. So had a good time with that one. I am also, for my next summer romance, 175 pages into Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I of course had to read this one during the summer, and I'm loving this so far, by the way, unsurprisingly. So we're following Emma and Justin, and Justin has a Reddit post wherein he describes this kind of curse where every time he breaks up with someone, there are certain stipulations, but he's noticed that every time he breaks up with someone, that person then goes on to meet the person that they're gonna marry. And he's like, what's up with this? Like, I'm never gonna be able to actually find someone for me if this curse continues. And our other main character, Emma, sees this and is like, wait, the same thing happens to me. And she and one of her good friends are both traveling nurses. They basically are travel nurses together. They pick their assignments together. They live together, throughout that process, and really just kind of go from place to place, as travel nurses, and kind of just explore different areas. And so she sees this and she reaches out to Justin and says, hey, same thing happens to me. And so she kind of pushes to make their next rotation to be in Michigan, near where he lives. And they decide that they're going to, again, there's like certain stipulations or things that need to happen for the next, or the person that they have dated to then next go on to find the person they're going to marry. So they want to recreate those conditions, date each other, and then hope that the curses will cancel each other out, and that they then will be able to go on to find their forever person. And so she convinces her friend to have their next stop be in Michigan. It was supposed to be in Hawaii. And she said, hey, look, let's go to Michigan. It's the summer, so it's actually going to be super nice. We can stay on a lake. Like, it's going to be great. And then we can go to Hawaii, and then you'll also be able to pick the next place. So, like, she kind of makes this deal with her roommate. So they're in Michigan. She has now met Justin in person. They are so cute together. I love their dynamic. They're just so cute. They're so sweet. And they're both dealing with a lot, actually, which is, again, this book is going to make me a wreck. It's going to make me a wreck. I know it. Things are going to get messy. So Emma is dealing with a neglectful mother that is now back in her life. So she's trying to navigate that. Justin is also trying to navigate a situation with his mother where she's actually about to go to prison for embezzling money. And anyway, and family situations are just complicated. And there's also a situation at work. I don't want to talk about that too much because it does come in kind of later. But there's a situation at work, and you just know, like, I love that Abby Jimenez is kind of building the tension here, because you know that this situation at their work, like, someone's not gonna end well. Like, it is gonna blow up in their faces in some way, shape, or form. And I'm stressed about it. Okay, I'm stressed about it. I don't want to feel this much stress for our characters, but I'm feeling this much stress for our characters because you just know that it's gonna get bad. It's gonna get bad. Anyway, but I am rooting for characters. I absolutely adore them, and I'm very excited to see where this one goes. I do have some cleaning to do today, so I'm hoping that I can listen to this a bit while doing that cleaning. But anyway, just as an update, and yeah, I'll check in when I'm farther into, or maybe done with Just for the Summer. Here to wrap up this vlog. It has actually been a minute since I finished it, but I have in fact finished Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Another hit from Abby Jimenez for me. I think in this series, I feel like my favorite is still Part of Your World. I feel like this one is probably second, and Yours Truly is probably third, although I absolutely adored all three of them. And I just really appreciated the journey that the characters went through in this one, with everything that they had to deal with, and just trying to deal with it the best way they can, and learning to be able to lean on each other and trust that the other person is going to be there for them is kind of hard for both of them, especially her. But just seeing that journey and the recognition that she in particular needed help to be able to get there. She, couldn't do it on her own, or recognize that it was going to be significantly harder to do it on her own than reach out for therapy and reach out for help to be able to get there. And so I really appreciated that. And yeah, they just get me every time. Her romances get me every time. So I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Honestly, a huge success with the summer romances that I read in this one. So thank you so much for watching. If you have more summer romance recommendations, I would absolutely love to hear them. I feel like there are always so many great ones for the summer. So let me know your recommendations down below. Again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more bookish content. I will leave more information down below, just links to a bunch of stuff that you can find down below, including my Instagram, and more information about how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.